Nearby, the fungus zombies continue to chant, calling for the garden to be fed Kyle. The fungus Batman slams Terry into the ground, ignoring the Batman's blows and leading close. Gotham will be saved by what it has buried, the fungus growls, but Terry shakes his head. No! It'll be saved by me! He shouts, kicking out and knocking the creature away. He then fights his way back to Kyle. But you're probably wondering how Batman Beyond got here. Well, today we're exploring Batman's greatest secret. When we last left off, Bruce Wayne had been killed by the living Gotham City, so a lot of his secrets are left remaining within Gotham. Terry McGinnis had gone into Old Gotham, to the deep Gotham levels, the Gotham beneath Neo-Gotham, where he met up with Kyle, a magician cat boy. The two of them discovered a kaiju-level croc guarding what appears to be a tomb of the Court of the Owls. And that was where our story left off. This is Comicstorian, where we take comic books and turn them into audio dramas for you to enjoy. This allows you to know what's going on in the world of comics, and you know what to add to your collection. If you enjoy this type of content, consider supporting us by going to our Patreon or joining us over at Spotify or our sister channel, Comicstorian Full Story. Now let's get into Batman Beyond Neo-Gothic, issue 3 and 4. Batman and Kyle descend into the darkness, arriving at the seal of the Tomb of the Owl. Batman presses it, and the tomb slides open, allowing them to access the ancient labyrinth of the Court of the Owls. As they begin to make their way through, both glance at the owl masks on the walls. Be careful, Kyle. This place is designed to drive you crazy and kill you once you're there. Batman warns in a hushed tone. He explains that he was trained to fight this place by the former Batman. When suddenly the masks begin to glow from the strange fungus on the walls, and the two begin to move quicker. Keep up, this is gonna get weird, Batman warns. And as they make their way through the corridors, Batman questions Kyle, demanding to know how he learned magic, but Kyle refuses to explain his backstory. The last guy I trusted was lying through his teeth, so respectfully, pass, Kyle tells him. The two finally pass through a massive door, arriving at the court's audience chamber. Yes, Terry. After all these years, you finally come home. A voice calls out, and Batman looks up in shock at the audience chamber filled with the undead members of the court, their bodies nothing more than withered husks, now controlled by strange growths and fungus. The creatures lean forward, pointing at the pair. Batman, so kind! You bring us a present, the creature hisses as one. Batman motions Kyle back to the door. Back away. Slowly, we gotta get out of here. He whispers to him. Don't gotta tell me twice, Kyle hisses as his ears go flat, but the mushroom zombies lean over the audience chamber further, claiming that Kyle's face haunts their dreams. The cat with the garden's secrets under their skin. They hiss in chorus. The zombies turn into a singular voice as a bat silhouette walks among them. And now, Terry, you bring him to us. The voice says, I'm so proud of you. Terry looks up in surprise as the figure looks like Bruce in the shadows, but he knows this isn't his old mentor. Return the children, you cowards! Enough of these mind games, Batman shouts, but the bat shakes his head. No games, Terry. The garden below needs the children, just as it needs the boy who fed them to it, just as the court needs the heir of Gotham again. The bat says, stepping out of the shadows, revealing the corpses of a Talon that once guarded the labyrinth, now taken over by the fungus. The creatures rise up on tendrils. Give us Kyle, and let the garden feed! The bat snarls, and the creature leaps at Kyle, but Batman moves fast, pulling the cat boy to safety. How do they know my name? Kyle shouts in surprise, and the bat creature launches an attack at Terry. He blocks the blows, but the strange tendrils wrap around his arm, flinging him through the air. Nearby, the fungus zombies continue to chant, calling for the garden to be fed Kyle. The fungus Batman slams Terry into the ground, ignoring the Batman's blows and leading close. Gotham will be saved by what it has buried, the fungus growls, but Terry shakes his head. No! It'll be saved by me! He shouts, kicking out and knocking the creature away. He then fights his way back to Kyle. Look at me. What is this about, Kyle? How do they know you? Why do they want you? Batman demands, but Kyle shakes his head. I don't know. I've never been here before. That's kind of the whole point, he says, and Terry looks in shock. The whole point? I hired you, Terry says, but Kyle smiles. Did you? He raises his hand, creating a magical shield that protects them from the creatures, and Kyle finally tells Terry who taught him magic. At his lowest point, he thought he had no one left in the world, and he was approached by John Constantine, who promised to teach him. Kyle thought that Constantine offered him a hand in friendship. But he betrayed me, screwed me over, and he left me to die the same slow death that kept him kicking through the last century. And I just got left with all of his curses, Kyle growls. He was the first person I ever saw go into the ground. John Constantine got a final resting place, a garden of light at the end of his god-awful life. Terry finally understands that Kyle has been pushing deeper, trying to get back to the man who ruined his life. Kyle nods as the magical shield begins to crack and fall. And now I guess I'm getting us both killed. Guess that's life in the gutter, Kyle whispers as the magical shield drops, but Batman pulls out his batarangs, fighting off the fungus as he throws them around the room. We're not at the end yet, Terry tells his friend, but the bat creature rushes them with the batarangs exploding. The entire audience chamber begins to crack and crumble around them, and the floor gives way, with the entire room plummeting further into the darkness of deep Gotham. Batman continues to fall into the darkness, with Kyle disappearing before his eyes, but the darkness begins to charge. His wings pop out, but they're not red. They're a multitude of flowers, colors beginning to spread before his eyes. Terry slams into the ground, but when he sits up, he isn't Batman anymore. He's standing in his family's old apartment. He rounds a corner, seeing his younger self arguing with his father. Time flashes forward, and he sees his mother telling a younger Terry that his father has died. Suddenly, he's Batman again, watching the scene. This isn't how it happened, he whispers, and he looks up to see the fungus bat leaning over the body of his father, laughing. Terry leaps at the monster, chasing it away into the darkness. Then he looks down at his father's body, covered in the strange fungus, with his mother calling out to him, tears streaming from her eyes as she reaches out, begging him to let her back into his life, to let her protect him. Let me keep you safe in the root, she calls as she dissolves into a plant. The images keep flashing before Terry's eyes. His brother Matt is suddenly Robin, and they're swinging through the rooftops of Gotham. Bruce is standing there smiling at the young Robin. There's always another orphan, he says with an evil smile. Suddenly, Terry is standing in a club with Dana dancing nearby. He rushes to her side, telling her that she needs to get away, to escape to safety. The lights begin to flash, and Terry is falling through the air again. He opens his eyes, finding himself in an alleyway surrounded by cats. He looks down and realizes that he is in a cat's body, the bat symbol still on his chest. Meow, this is interesting, he says to himself. Cat Terry looks down at the scene of the other cat hybrids and sees a young Kyle who wishes to be a part of the pack, wants to do what he can to help, but the leader of the pack snarls, slashing at him, demanding to know if he can survive. The pack turns on him, stomping him into the ground, but it is later that the young Kyle looks up to see the trench-coated man standing before him, cigarette smoke streaming from his nostrils. John Constantine offers to teach the young cat his secrets. Terry watches as Constantine teaches the hybrid magic, teaching him how to survive in this world. But on his deathbed, Constantine performs one final spell. Death may not be the end, he says as Kyle falls to the ground, his body convulsing. There are things that'll make you wish it was, John says, and as he stands, his body is suddenly well again. As he walks across the room, green roots begin to grow at his feet. He reaches the door, pulling on his coat and lighting a cigarette. Thanks for the lift, Squire. Sorry to leave you with all the baggage. He heads off into the snowy night, but Kyle begins to follow behind him, demanding to know what happened. More roots begin to grow and wrap around Constantine as the old magician explains that he gave Kyle all of his curses, the things that would have forced his soul to be split 100 ways between angels and demons. But I also gave you magic. Fair trade, says I. So stop meowing and let me die. John says as the roots begin to take him into the earth, leaving Kyle behind. No! Kyle yells as he watches Constantine disappear into the dirt, but he suddenly looks up into the sky. This isn't how it happened, Kyle whispers, and both Batman and Kyle look up as the fungus bat descends upon them. But Terry rushes forward, blocking the creature's attacks. No! Batman isn't dead, he says as he punches the monster away, and the Batman turns to Kyle as the roots begin to grow around him. He pulls the hybrid into a hug. Don't be afraid. The past's a shadow, but we're the night. They both suddenly look up, finding themselves in a shadowy forest, and something moves through the trees near them. You hear that? Terry asks, and Kyle nods. The bat thing is dead, he whispers when suddenly there's a light. Batman whirls, his batarangs ready as Kyle prepares a spell. The new creature looks at them, tangles of flowers and roots growing around them, protecting the golden bulbs that house the children. We are the roots, and we are your death, the new creatures state. And if you want to know how this resolves, like and subscribe to our channel because this story is going to be wrapping up very soon.